Well, hell to all you collector car fans out there. This is once again Jason, the owner and founder of Southernmost Motorsports. Boy, do we got a tall tales from the bush for you today. What you're looking at here is a Chrysler Hurst 426 Hemi car. It's a beauty. You're going to love this one. So I had actually posted this car about a month ago, and within 6 hours of posting it, I took it off. You're never going to guess why. I inspected this car about 20 years ago, and boy, she was a beauty. It was called to me and told to me that it was an unrestored Chrysler Hurst 426 Hemi car. I mean, the fender tag, the VIN number, body stamps, everything was on there. Everything matched. Everything was perfect. I was so excited about this car. I didn't end up selling this car, but I took lots of pictures of this car and I had it listed and all this stuff. And remember, this was about 20 years ago. When you look at this car, it's mind-boggling how unrestored and untouched this car. This is one of the cars that came out of the doctor's collection that I told about before, where this guy prided himself on buying survivor cars that had never been touched before. And I had inspected about 85, I think 90 of these doctor's cars that were unrestored survivors, and this was definitely one of them. This was a 426 Hemi Chrysler Hurst. This car was absolutely beautiful. They didn't make a lot of these cars. And this thing was a land yacht. Let me tell you, I took this thing for a quick drive, and it was a boat, and it handled like a boat. But I'm telling you what, when you put your foot on that gas, there was no boat. There was just raw power to the rear wheels and that infamous Hemi sound, and it was so cool driving this car around. But, you know, it is what it is. You still have to do the inspection. You still have to check these cars over. I mean, you can tell this car is really nice. Survivor part, well, I mean, that's when people start saying it's a survivor car, you got to look careful like you always do, but you got a different set of looking that you're looking at. And to me, this car had never been taken apart. You know, again, it was in the very beginning of my career. You know, it didn't look like the interior had been ever touched in it, and I had no reason to doubt that this wasn't a survivor car. And it sure was beautiful. There's no question about it. And, you know, it is what it is. That's the way I documented it. So what you're going to see next is some pictures of another Hurst car that was out there. It was a 440 car. Now, you see the difference in the pictures? This is what happens when somebody says they want me out there, they want me taking pictures. This is what happens when they want me to see a car, but they don't want me to take pictures. So into my pocket my hand goes, and I start taking pictures with a button camera. Y'all can call it the way you want, but I didn't drive all the way out here and spend all of my time and money for people to be picky and choosy about whether they wanted me to take pictures of it or not. I document everything. So the pictures are kind of cruddy on this one. This is obviously an unrestored, untouched survivor car because she's rough, really rough, but complete. This thing really needed to be restored. She was rough in everywhere possible. She was rotted out in everywhere possible, but this was an untouched, unrestored Hurst Chrysler Survivor. There was no question about it whatsoever. But, you know, I don't know why the guy was being so funny about me not taking pictures of it, but, you know, what can I tell you? The car that was this untouched. You can see all the little bits and pieces of it and stuff, and door panels. It had all-way power windows, which was, I don't think they all came like that. I think some of them just came with the front windows power, but this one came with all-way power windows. And had that nice interior, the nice radio and stuff, and it was a pretty cool car. But I wanted to take pictures of this one, obviously, because I was out there taking pictures of that Hemi. But like I was saying, this story's got a bit of a twist to it. That first car, the first Hurst that you saw with the Hemi in it, that thing was, to me, as an untouched car. It was a real Hemi car. The fender tag, the VIN number, the door stamp sticker, all that stuff matched. As did this car right here. There was no question that both of them were survivors. The Hemi one was in a lot better condition than this one here, but, you know, depending on how this guy found them, you know, it's just the way that it went. This one here was definitely pretty rough, but hey, how often can you find two Chrysler Hurst cars in the same spot? One of them a 440 and one of them a 426 Hemi. This one's in much better condition than the other one was, but they're still Hurst Chryslers. So, look at the power seats on that one. I think this one just had front power seats on it. But there's a whole point to this story, and I'm going to get to it when these pictures get through a little bit more. But like I listed that Hemi car. I made a Tales from the Bush on it. I had it up for probably 24 hours. And then I got an interesting email. I got an email from a guy that said, I just watched your Tales from the Bush on that Hemi Hurst Chrysler. Very cool car. I noticed that you said it was a true survivor car and that it was a real Hemi car and all the numbers were there. And he's like, I hate to tell you this, but I built that car in 1985. And obviously that got my attention. And he's like, when I got that car, it was an untouched car. It was a 440 car. And the guy said, I want to make this a Hemi car. This was in 1985. Before anybody was doing any cloning or anything like that, this guy was asked to turn this into a Hemi car. Now, he doesn't know what happened to it after that. All he knows is that when he put that Hemi engine in, he made that thing look like it was supposed to be there. He left a couple telltale markers unknowingly that would tell somebody sometime in the future that it possibly was not supposed to have that engine in there. But I'll tell you what, I asked the guy, how in the heck did you do that without bumping anything or taking anything apart or just touching the engine compartment? I mean, there wasn't a scratch or anything anywhere. I said, I'm just floored right now because when I looked at the car, it was an all numbers matching, untouched survivor car, and it was perfect, and all the fender tag and VIN number and all that stuff matched to a Hemi car. Like, how did you do that? He goes, well, I don't know about all that, but that car was definitely a 440 car. Matter of fact, he said I'm going to go through some of my old files because I usually took pictures of my work even back then. And he went to the trouble to find these pictures and to scan them for me. And he started telling me some stories about all this. And I said, well, wait a second. If you were doing this back in the early 80s, that put you at being the godfather of engine swaps and engine cloning. Like, you had to have been the first one doing this stuff. I mean, this is crazy. Back in 85, I mean, we all know cloning really started when Don Johnson wanted a fancy Hemi car. Or not a Hemi car. He wanted the 71 Hemi Cuda convertible in Miami Vice, but, they told him they only made a few of them. This was the original picture of that car right before he started it. Okay? That's what it looked like before he started. Don Johnson wanted a Hemi car. He couldn't have a Hemi car, so they said, this is Hollywood. Let's build it. This is the engine after he finished putting it in. Now, I take a good look at that engine right there. This is that same car, 1985. There's a picture of the motor being built. The hubcap or the valve covers and that weren't on it yet. Now, I want you to take a look at this next picture. That's the car in 2000, I think it was 5, when I took pictures of it. Same engine. Same car. But here, it was portrayed as being a numbers match and untouched survivor car. This is why inspections are so friggin' important, because I even got fooled on this one. I know people are going to say you don't know what you're doing, but you missed that, and whatever. I did miss it, and I missed it big time, because I'm glad I didn't sell this car, but this car has been sold off into the future somewhere as an unrestored survivor car, Hemi Chrysler Hurst. But according to this guy, my buddy Jerry, that I'm now calling the godfather of engine swaps and engine conversions and engine cloning, look at that. His workmanship is impeccable. It's insane what this guy did. Like, I literally you could not tell that car motor had been out of there. Like, to me, it was scary because I should have caught it. 100% I should have caught it. But this is the reason that I will preach inspections are so important. So basically, I have unveiled what I believe to be the godfather of engine swaps. This guy was doing this back in the early 80s, and he's starting to send me some of these stories of cars that he sent me a few pictures of some cars that he did, and one of them I recognized. Luckily, I didn't sell it. But this is why it's important to be truthful about this stuff and why it's important to have somebody that's inspecting the car that knows about these cars, because it's so easy to get duped, especially somebody like me with experience. Well, thanks for coming by and checking on another Tales from the Bush, and don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps.